Welcome to 10 Women, bringing together 10 women with 10 thought-provoking questions based on one theme. During this episode of 10 Women, we will hear 10 different answers to this question. How are you using technology differently as you get older?
As we get older, our relationship with technology can change. How is it changing? What things are you doing differently that, like with your computer, at home, your car, that you have not experienced before?
I use technology a lot with my job, in my personal life, and I feel very comfortable with most devices and platforms. But I think I utilize assistive tools a little bit differently. So I use subtitles on everything I watch, whether it's streaming a movie, whether it's a YouTube video, I've got the subtitles on or I can't hear them. I use Siri a lot to set alarms and reminders and where's the weather and all that kind of stuff on my phone, which has been great. And I also had to make the text larger on my very large iPhone.
Yeah, me too. I'm also a big user of technology as part of my work. But my son got my phone the other day and he opened it up and said, "Mom, why do you have 200 tabs open at the same time?" I'm like, think about closing tabs. I know that I'm using it very differently than his generation, but I just don't think about it. But I like to make it bigger, and the assistive technology, audiobooks. I'm doing it.
God, I love audiobooks. Before we hear the 10 answers, remember to take a moment to think about your own answer to this question. How are you using technology differently as you get older?
And don't forget that we want to hear your answers too. Follow our 10 Women series on Instagram to share your thoughts and to read the responses of others in our community. Visit our website to find other ways to connect.
I am Leanna Martin, and I am an aunt, a daughter, and a friend. I have captions that I watch all the time now. It's like this whole trend where you see people and they're like, if they look away from the TV, it just sounds like gibberish. And if they look, yeah, that's me. So it's like, I can't watch anything without captions. It's really bad. What else do I use with technology? I don't know if I call it technology, but those little grabbers that help you reach things on the top shelf. Love those. Found one at the Dollar Tree. It's the best thing I've ever bought for $1. Let's see, what else do I use technology for? Have way more security than I used to. Like, we have security cameras now, the doorbell camera, all that stuff. Didn't used to have all of that, so that's new. I've always used my phone for everything, so I still use my phone for everything. There's an app for everything, so that hasn't really changed that much. Using the Roku remote on your phone, that's awesome. You don't have to keep up with the remote ever. So, those things.
My name is Terry Wiggins, and I am a woman. I am a mother, and I am a daughter. I am a person who has not really put a lot of energy into learning a lot about technology throughout my whole life. I do the things that a lot of people do. I use the computer for emails and for doing research, maybe writing up a presentation. I do Zoom on it. I use my cell phone only for texting, of course, calls and photographs. That's about it. I don't use a lot of apps. And I do pay 2 bills online now. That's a big one for me. I use the U.S. Post Office still. So it's been an interesting engagement with technology. And I think I just reread the book 1984 by George Orwell. And he actually wrote that book in 1949. I don't know if you have read that or not. He talks about technology as being everywhere. And the idea is that there is a big brother out there viewing every single thing we do through technology. So we're being watched all the time. And so that really influenced me many, many years ago when I read it, and then I reread it, and it's like I'm just kind of being okay with not being totally involved with it. The other thing I've thought about recently with technology is that, the hurricanes in western North Carolina, power went out for almost everybody. And, when something like that happens, where do we go with technology? So it's just that these are questions that have come up for me. And it's so I ask a lot of questions to a lot of people about how to do something to help me out with technology.
My name is Judy Fowler. I am an educator, a mom, and a team player. This one's a tough one because of my job. I use technology a lot, and to kind of, if I were to disassociate my job in general with the technology, just the everyday, I think just because of the evolution of technology and what younger children have to do with it, that's the new lens on technology. I'm definitely, one of the videos I love showing to my students is the AARP video about what do millennials think of older people. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's fantastic. And they are asking millennials, how does an older person use a cell phone? So they have this, someone's imagined this flip phone, and they're taking their glasses and, they're poking at it with one finger. I'm definitely not that version of it at all, but I do think I have to help my son fact check a lot more with it. I think that's probably one of the newer uses, is to how do you translate, because my almost 10-year-old is very tech savvy. He's always wanted to be an influencer. Who says that when you're in first grade? I want to be a YouTube influencer. It's this whole new world that we're having to encounter as parents. I think what's interesting, though, it's, okay, let's bring it back a little bit and let's get to the truth of the information. So I feel like that's probably the newest use of it. Doing things for my youngest, who is now in kindergarten, and trying to find educational apps and things like that. We love play. They play all the time, but there's sometimes that you want to reel them in a little bit to help them. So I never imagined that's what I would have been doing at this stage of my life. But in a way, I think because of me being an educator, I was hoping, in probably some selfish way, that all that was going to be taken care of at school too. And then I could just have the chance just to be and play. But it's so connected and interlaced in so many complicated ways that it's almost like you have to be able to use it at a drop of the dime. So I think part of this, how am I using it differently, is I have to have this Rolodex of educational or things that are appropriate for elementary age children in my back pocket for that moment that springs up on us. The teachable moment. I guess I'm always grasping for that teachable moment in some ways. Jokingly would be Instagram for recipes, because I have to cook. That would be the one thing. But honestly, there's really not. I think that in some ways I try to forget that I have a phone, because I want to slow down a little bit. But I really don't. Using social media to stay connected with dear friends from way back in junior high that we're still really good friends with. But honestly, I think that it's one of those things, I try to slide it across the table. I want to be the one that's like, no, we're not going to have this at meals. Even came back from a conference. Some ways I just wanted to lose it, because I'm tired of looking at people, tops of people's heads. I want to be able to see their faces. So sometimes I wish I could disconnect even further.
My name is Susan Sassman, and I am an extrovert, a creative visionary, and a nurturing kind of gal. I'm using it less, and I'm delegating more. I'm giving those tasks to people that like to do it and know how to do it, because technology, to me, is outpacing my ability to keep up with it. There's way too many ways to communicate now, and that is causing communication problems. If I'm Facebooking you and you're leaving me a message on my voicemail and I'm texting you back and then you're TikToking me, we're not really getting together on anything. So my favorite way is face-to-face conversation or phone conversation. And I know the basics of how to open an email and attach a picture and things like that. But when it comes to more technical things, I rely on my husband, who's a techie, my son, who's a techie, and pretty much any young person walking around the street if I need to download an app and I'm having problems with it. And I've learned to laugh about it. I used to cry when I couldn't figure it out. It was too hard. And I just would berate myself that I've got to get this, I got to get this, but I don't really have to get it. I really don't. I think I've got just enough under my belt that I can squeak by. And if I keep my sense of humor and surround myself with techies, I think I'm good.
My name is Ann Sparks-Baumgardner, and I am a caregiver. I'm a member of a women's organization that I'm very passionate about. I am a cyclist. I'm a road cyclist, and I love being out of doors. Well, I have embraced the cell phone, and I have a smartphone, and I text and I email, but I do not do Facebook. I don't do Instagram. I don't text. Twitter. My husband and I didn't like it, and we just agreed not to do it. And so I know that I am missing out on a part of life because I'm unwilling to go on Facebook. But it's a choice, and I just feel like that I don't need it. I know I could keep up. I have step grandchildren, and I could probably keep up with them that way, but I choose not to. So. But the other day, I went to a concert at the Tanger for it was a benefit for the North Carolina, and you had to do this whole thing online. You had to show your tickets with a little barcode, and I did it. I was really like, wow, you did it. And I bank online, and I travel a lot, so all my banking's online. So I mean, I have embraced. But I have been scammed, and I know what that feels like, and lost money, and so I really try to limit what I do, and I know I'm going to fall back at some point. So I just stay enough to keep up.
My name is Abigail Dunn Moses, and I am an educator of adults who heals the brokenhearted. I'm using it as much as I possibly can. And when the Gen Zers refuse to teach me because I'm too slow, I pay somebody to teach me. And there's a lot of people who I know who are at my age that don't know how to text with their phone, or don't know how to use Google, or don't know how to don't even bring AI into it, right? I don't do that. If I don't know how to do it, and I can't find somebody to teach me how to do it, then I'll pay somebody to teach me so that I will know how to do it, because they're tools that I need in order to be able to function at the highest level. I'm a very creative person, and I need tools and technology to be able to create the things that I see in my mind. Using AI, unquestionably. It allows me to produce at the speed of my brain.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I am a gynecologist, bicyclist, and someone who loves life. Well, in the office, everything changed over the last 10 years or so, from everything on paper to everything on computer. And honestly, that was fantastic. I had a joke with one of my partners that once we got onto electronic medical records, that I could actually read what he was writing now. And I was like, man, your notes are actually really pretty good. they actually say something worthwhile. So in some ways, the technology, as far as the ability to have electronic mountain bikes, so I can keep up with my younger friend, and having everything tell me whether the tires are low and the batteries are off or whatever, that I've enjoyed a lot. A lot of the social media I have stayed away from. I've subscribed to Facebook, and I don't get on very often. I'm not a big fan of the echo chambers, and not a big fan of the yelling back and forth that happens a lot. So I think I've adapted well to the technology that's come. Another thing that we think about sometimes too is my parents they don't have a computer, they don't do email, they don't do anything anymore. They just can't. And so the interesting thing to think of for me is what is going to be that piece of technology that I go, I can't do that. I'm not doing that. And something's going to come up, and I'm not imaginative enough yet to kind of figure out what that piece of technology will be, but I know there will be something, and hopefully when we get there, we'll just have a good laugh about it.
My name is Abigail Seymour, and I am an entrepreneur, a lawyer, and an Enneagram 7. I've always been a very techie person, and I would like to remain that. I try to, keep up sounds silly, but I don't know that I use it any differently. I just have not decided to say, I'm just not going to use it. I'm not techie. Or I do have friends and women my age who are like, well, I just don't want to learn anything new. I think to me, it's no different from learning a new language. You just sort of decide if you're a learner, you're going to keep up with things and continue to learn things. I don't know that I need to do WhatsApp and things that my daughter's into. She gets very annoyed with me when I am on my phone because she says I already use it too slowly. Like, she's just like, I can't stand to watch you on your phone, Mom, because you tap it too slowly. So I think I'm fairly techie, but I think to somebody who's 17 years old, maybe not so much.
My name is Kimberly Burke, and I'm a human, a teacher, and a lover. I don't use a ton of technology. I did recently start using ChatGPT to do some of the mundane things that I don't like to do, like calculate macros or, hey, make me a meal plan for a week, and then generate a shopping list. And so I find that really helpful because it gives me back some time. I like it for planning kinds of things, for suggestions of how to structure things. And I set a lot of reminders because I can't remember anything. So I do love that it'll send me a text and say, hey, remember you have a doctor's appointment in an hour or whatever. But I really, I haven't bought totally into technology.
My name is Marie Leonard, and I am a mom, a daughter, and an energetic lover of life. I feel like there are some inputs I'm like, I just don't need as much of that. So like the news, for example, like I don't need so much. So like trying to regulate the inputs of the technology that's in the world, of like, the things I consume in terms of the movies and things, like I don't need despair or dystopian, whether that's news or entertainment. Like I just don't have space for that, and it doesn't serve me well. So I feel like I'm seeking out things that bring me joy or are interesting, So I find I listen to a lot of books because I love to hear stories, and it's just, it also, I don't know, fills in space when I spend time alone, which I like to spend time alone, but also I like, hearing stories. So that's why I feel like as I've grown older, audiobooks have become more of a thing, whereas before I was like eyeball books only, but now I'm like audio. And then I like the using social media and things like that, but also knowing that it's a double-edged sword. So having like awareness of like how much of that do I need to consume, and like sometimes having like a thoughtful unfollow or a thoughtful snooze, because maybe I just don't need that for right now. So maybe curating a little bit, but also realizing like I don't want to be in an echo chamber either. So like that doesn't serve me. So just trying to be mindful. But there are definitely some voices that I'm just like, you know what? I just need to have you on mute for a little while. Or even just like whole strands. I'm like, you know what? I can't think about that anymore. And so even though I might still support that person or that cause, I just need to take a break. So I feel like there's an ebb and flow of what I follow and what I get interested in, and then what gives me energy I find like, let me follow more of the, creators and things that I enjoy. And then like around my house, like I like just started using Siri. So like literally just recently, and it's kind of nice sometimes. I'm sure she hears me already talking about her over there in my purse, but, so not being as like, okay, that's an easy thing that can help me, instead of being like, they're listening. Well, they're listening no matter what, so might as well use the tool.
Let's bring us back to the question. How are you using technology differently as you get older?
And how difficult was that question for you to answer? And be honest.
After you answer this question for yourself, think about reaching out to other women in your life for their answers.
Remember to share your answers with us in our 10 Women series on Instagram. We can't wait to read your answers. And speaking of answers, we've actually got some different answers on our Instagram page. That's because we asked all the women surprise questions to learn more about them. Join us on Instagram at 10 Women series to hear their answers.
We hope you will join us every Tuesday for a new episode wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. This series is distributed both as an audio only and a YouTube video format to allow you to enjoy each episode your preferred way. Be sure to visit our website at www.sassyyam.com to learn more about this series and all the places you can find us. 10 Women is a production of Sassy Yam Media. Amy Brown and Sarah Howard, producers. Feel free to send us an email at sassyyammedia@gmail.com. Special thanks to the women of Season 1, Kimberly Burke, Judy Fowler, Michelle Horvath, Marie Leonard, Leanna Martin, Abigail Dunn Moses, Susan Sassman, Abigail Seymour, Ann Sparks Bumgaudner, and Terry Wiggins.